Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us tmosso@the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions regarding this watch. You may think that this is part of the 2023 relaunch of the Ingenieur collection in the traditional Genta shape. However, what you're looking at is actually a rare 2005 limited edition for the Japanese domestic market that leverages that classic Genta 1976 design alongside an immensely charismatic and exclusive salmon dial. This is the Ingenieur 3227-11, Japanese domestic market exclusive, though 200 were planned. Only about 100 were actually made, and this one is lucky number 8. Taking a quick look at it, it's a large watch, as back in 2005, the Ingenieur was a larger timepiece. This Ingenieur, 42.5 millimeters in diameter, 14.7 millimeters thick. If we're measuring it lug-to-lug, 52 millimeters across the wrist, and then if you measure the rigid-most outer point on each side, that is the incompressible distance across the wrist, then the total distance across the wrist is 56.3. So lug-to-lug 52, total 56.3. Now I should also mention, IWC does make straps for the 3227, which means you can accessorize if you want and change the look with the strap. The unique sizing system for the bracelet and the lug release requires 2 tools that are included with this watch as part of its original accessory set from IWC. So if you want to start strap swapping with factory options, you can definitely do so, and the tooling is included with this boxed set. So the watch here includes its original Japanese signed warranty card, full box and papers, documenting its original sale in 2007. We'll throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, and you can see that it is a large watch. It's bigger than the current automatic 40, but it's got a lot of presence. And being a substantial but not oversized watch, it works well as an engineer's timepiece. After all, the bigger the dial, the easier it is to read. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, I'm going to say this probably takes up just about all the real estate. So you should have a wrist of my size or larger to wear the watch, and it'll have no trouble fitting underneath the jacket cuff. Taking a look at it in profile, you can see there's even a little bit of a ramp and slope to the stepped case flank. Here's your over-the-top shot, and once more down the barrel. We'll do a distance shot so you can see it in proportion to my arm. There you go. There's my hand. There's the rest of my arm. All right, let's get a little bit closer here. So Genta redesigned the Ingenieur in 1976. The previous variants in the 50s and the 60s look a whole lot like the Ingenieur models that were made from 2016 right up to 2022. So the full integrated bracelet Ingenieur, or the reference 1832 Ingenieur SL of 1976, was part of the run Genta had from the Rolex 5100 in 1970 to the Royal Oak in 1972, the Nautilus in 1976, and then he designed his Ingenieur that same year. This watch maintains that full integrated aesthetic, and it has a lot of elements that are traditional features of an Ingenieur, including a soft iron inner cage to protect the hairspring and the escapement from magnetism, and a screw-down crown with 120-meter water resistance. Now, following the case into the lugs into the bracelet, you can see the continuous taper. Genta fancied himself a jewelry designer first, foremost, and almost exclusively. It was his real passion. So he envisioned a lot of his integrated watches from the 1970s as those that were basically bracelets for men that happened to include timepieces. The bracelet here is fully sizable, which means every link is removable, and there are 2 tools that are included so you can remove and then reattach links. Here we have a single fold deployant with a media blasted internal folding action. There's a single trigger for release, so it closes like that, and you could see that we have a trigger release system that you have to press so it doesn't just fly open inadvertently. And you can see that the case back, individually numbered, is solid because there is an iron cage that wraps entirely around the IWC manufacturer caliber 80110, which is a bidirectional winding automatic with a 44-hour power reserve, a Peloton-style, pawl-based winding system. Remember, that's a long-running, very durable, very efficient, bidirectional, pawl-based automatic winding system, originally envisioned in the middle of the 20th century by IWC watchmaker Albert Peloton, and it formed the basis for every subsequent pawl-based system, including the Seiko magic lever of the late 1950s. So in addition to the 44-hour power reserve and the winding system, we have a stop seconds or hacking function, a quick set date, 4 Hz beat rate, 28 pivot joules, and then it is adjusted in 5 positions, which is the high horology and chronometer standard. The finish is handsome, as you can see, a panoply of surfacing, including polish and satin. We roll around to the crown, which is a screw down. Probus Scafusia, the motto, a good solid watch made in Schaffhausen. You can see that on the 9 o'clock side, there's no stepping to the lugs, but when you go to the 3 o'clock side, there is a stepping of the lugs. The case is a little bit asymmetrical. And then we have the sockets in profile that were an original feature of the 1976 Genta iteration. You can also see the Ingenieur monogram on the dial, the repeating interlocking eye. We have rhodium-plated steel hands, indices, and bi-Arabic numerals. You can see that we have a raised track outboard for reading seconds as well as minutes. Let's do a loom shot so you can see the watch in the dark and get the full effect. This is an incredibly rare and highly sought model, and between the fact that it is a manufacturer movement, extraordinarily rare and extraordinarily handsome with the salmon dial, this is a real trophy for the hardcore IWC collector. An engineer's watch, the Genta design, Japanese domestic market, and a salmon dial. This watch is the total package. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.